Hey.
What's
Happy
good?
Thursday, everybody.
What's really good?
What's up?
Everybody doing?
What's up? How y'all doing?
Good.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. You got on one of my top favorite colors, orange.
Oh, good. Did you see what my shirt says? Can
It
you see
says
it?
what?
Oh,
I'm not.
Keep it class. Oh,
I'm not sugar and spice and everything nice. I'm sage and hood, and I wish a motherfucker would.
I like that necklace and everything.
Thank you.
Ricardo, you done got dressed up on us. How you dress like that?
No.
There's a business meeting. It is a business meeting.
To what do we owe the pleasure?
No.
I mean, why would
you? I put on the collar.
Like this?
I put on the collar. What you drinking on, Miss Fossey?
It's like this tropical Moscato.
Okay.
Legit got it from like Walmart, but it's really, really good.
I'm not gonna bring it up every time, but I don't like that you get to drink Moscato and I can't drink Moscato.
You can drink Moscato, just don't tell anybody you're drinking Moscato.
It's not in public, right?
You could get. Well, don't order it at a restaurant.
Okay.
Number one,
don't order at a restaurant. But like you could have some when people come over, but you just bring out some Pinot or some Chardonnay. Right. So you fill your cup up with Moscato, and then you go like, "Hey, anybody want some Pinot or Chardonnay?" And you don't have to say you drinking a Moscato.
Drinking something different.
They just be like, "Oh, I'll have what you have."
Yeah.
Oh, you have a Pinot? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, my boy, man. We got a lot to get into. Talking about college football and the playoffs, MLS, all that stuff.
But wait,
before we get too far, let's turn the show over to our queen, Eva. I know you got a bunch of questions to ask us, and I hope we're ready for the questions.
I do. So these questions are easy tonight. Like I don't want to say, like when you work at a hospital, you don't say the Q word or the S word.
Oh wow!
Because then shit get crazy.
Yes, it does.
So I don't want to say it's been an S week, but just a few things that went on. So I know y'all heard about AJ Johnson. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Our boy Ezel.
R.I.H.
Yes.
Rest in heaven.
Rest. Also Melvin Van Peebles. I don't know if y'all heard about that.
We did.
I am not going to cap, as the kids say. Who is that?
That's Mario Van Peebles' dad. So he really jumped into
Blaxploitation,
but he was almost like the master P of it, right?
Yes,
because he financed, directed, wrote the score for Sweet Badass Assassin, and it was the first time, because all those Blaxploitation movies up to that point was being made by mainstream studios on the slide. So we go into it, it's our actors, but we don't have any control over it.
Right.
So when he made it, by him making it, it flipped a little bit. It was a Blaxploitation, but it flipped a little bit. Yeah. And then after that, it was hard for mainstream Hollywood to convince people that that they couldn't do the producing. So several African American producers that came after him, but he's the one who started it. And then, as you can see, his son was in everything and producing everything. Yeah, and that's not by accident.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, because I didn't know who he was. I was like, I know Mario Van Peebles, but I don't know Melvin. He must be his uncle.
It was his dad.
Okay.
Like him too.
But back to AJ. Now, our rest in heaven, AJ.
Yeah.
But it's a mess out on these internet streets. So they started a GoFundMe for his funeral expenses, right? And even though now his internet net worth is 2.5 million, and while that's not always accurate, that doesn't sound like somebody who needs a GoFundMe account. So then his wife was mad that the fans were showing him fake love by not paying for his funeral. And I'm like, if his wife was saying, I'm mad at Ice Cube, then I get that. Or Ricardo brought up And who did you bring up?
I could see she, some people might feel like, hey, Ice Cube should partake and kind of help paying for the arrangements because it's obvious he doesn't have $2.5 million. I've learned the hard way that usually is just kind of, you can kind of get a lot of, yeah.
Or Master P. Or Master P.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Master P.
They ain't going to play. No.
Well, he. What do you mean? Well, okay, go ahead. Help us out.
He put more than $20,000 in those gentlemen's pockets.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay.
What I care about is us. Can we normalize having health life insurance policies? Can we normalize having life insurance policies? We shouldn't be doing no fish fry, no GoFundMe, no car wash, none of that mess to bury our loved ones, period.
Or at least burial insurance. Burial insurance is much less expensive than life insurance.
The life insurance.
So, it is. And if you have a family member who's out there wilding and what have you, and that's not to imply that AJ was wilding, and they don't have insurance, and it's going to come down on you, you need to take out an insurance policy on them.
But they have to sign. So if they don't, that's
typically not the signing is not the problem. The paying. So if you're willing to pay for it, they don't usually give you problems with signing it, as long as they know it's just burial insurance and not some kind of life insurance policy. Yeah. But I agree, we got to do better than that.
Yeah, all that looking for somebody to pay, looking for somebody to chip in. Like if they do, that's fine. If they choose to, that's fine. But just to have that expectation, I got an issue with that. Like, why are we not dealing with this ahead of time?
Yeah, I hear you. I don't know. I'm one of those people. I don't trust what I read. I doubt it's as it's being reported. I think, first of all, she's in shock and grief. He died at 52. I mean, good night. That's so young.
Something. I think it was like 56. Something like that.
That's so young. So
hey, what's going on?
What's going on, Grandison? How you doing, my brother? I think it's just one of those things, man. It's just, I don't think they had $2.8 million or however much they said. That's obvious.
Right.
They probably end up owing more than, some of these people, man, they owe so much, I just don't think they had $20,000 to have. And I think that she wasn't just talking to like fans. I think she was talking to the loved ones, the people who were giving them a shot. Like, be honest with you, probably Ice Cube, because Ice Cube wrote on, hey, I missed you. And there's a lot of, I look on Twitter, there was a lot of comments about, hey, man, didn't you owe him a lot of money or something like that? And I don't know what's what. I'm very wary of having conversations about other people's pockets. You know what I'm saying? This is how I grew up. But, it's a sad situation. I do agree with Ms. Faustiva that we definitely need to get life insurance, wills,
something
taken care of. Yeah.
Like we always end up on the back end scraping, scrapping, and fighting.
It's sad. It's sad.
For what?
Yeah, it's sad.
And Gary said Black could have played for Blue's funeral, and he said sorry if you didn't get his.
I got the
hookup reference. Yeah. That's a good reference. That's a quality.
Right. Yeah, it was
quality reference, Gary. That is a quality reference.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got?
All right, so in other news, now that we've talked about the transition, let's talk about the ones who are still with us who celebrated birthdays. So we have Anthony Mackie.
He and everything. He Mr. Netflix. You get confused with shows. You're like, did I saw this movie for wait, no, I didn't see it. Yeah, he on everything in there.
He on everything.
Okay.
That's Mr.
Netflix. And he Avengers. So now,
right.
Just all around. Bruce Springsteen. I don't know why I'm so tongue-tied today. Bruce Springsteen.
Hey,
how old is he? Like 98?
Let me ask we that. What's your favorite Bruce Springsteen song?
I don't have one.
The only song I know is the Born in the USA. That's the only one I know.
Hell no, I don't like that one more.
I would say Dancing in the Dark. I like that one.
You
be dancing We should be dancing in the dark. Can't start the fire.
You don't know what you're talking about, North Dakota.
I got nothing. Sorry.
That's my favorite Bruce Springsteen.
Okay. I guess. Our girl, the beautiful, illustrious Lisa Ray.
Oh yeah.
Of course, you like Lisa Ray.
Why would you say that?
What celebrity do people tell you look like the most?
Mm-hmm.
Lisa Ray.
My brother asked you about the most.
and Kiki, what's her name? The singer, Kiki Shear, Kiki
Wyatt.
Kiki Wyatt. Her.
You got some kids. You ain't got no kids like Kiki. Kiki pumping them out. Kiki pumps them out.
Yeah, her and Nick Cannon running Nick for Nick. Anyway, and Atlanta's own, my boy JD.
Okay.
Jermaine Dupree. North Clayton represent.
Okay.
I actually used to go. He's a couple of years behind me. Quick story. We used to break dance against his crew.
Oh
what?
gosh.
Yeah. My crew was called HBO Homeboys Only, and we used to break dance against his crew at the skating rink. And he used to come up into our North Clayton Junior High dances to break, and so I could get him on the floor, but popping, he could pop like nobody else, right? Mm-hmm. So when the Fresh tour came to Atlanta for tryouts, he was like, "Hey man, you got to come down there, blah blah blah." And I was like, I told my dad, "Hey man, you got to come down there. I got to come down there." He was like, "On a football game day? No."
Yeah.
And so, it's like he went down there, he made it, and he was on that Fresh tour, popping. So we just saw him dancing in the thing, and then he was on the Fresh tour popping with Houdini on Run DMC. Because remember, all the videos was filmed at the concert, and his little behind was there popping, and he could really pop. And so when he came back, so when he was on TV, we started turning up our moves. We was going to turn up our moves. So he went over his house. Because he was cool. You could just walk over his house. His dad was a producer. And they had like a studio in there. Mm-hmm. It was like, "Hey man, you ready for the next breaking battle?" And he was like, "Nah, he was kind of like, "I'm over that. Y'all don't have that.
I'm on to bigger, better things
and,
now."
And so to see him take off, because all his crew are the guys I went to high school with, Eddie Weathers, all those all us North Clayton people stick together. Because when we first came to North Clayton, it was a different demographic.
I was going to say, y'all probably the only ones.
Yeah. And so it's great to see him succeed. So happy birthday, JD.
Yes.
And of course, the elephant in the room is JD and Puffy going at it as far as verses. And so,
all right, people, chime in. Who y'all got? Come on, let me hear it. JD or Puffy?
Let me just say this.
Grandison, are you from North Clayton? Because that's true. Only an insider would know that, because that's really his moon. He could moonwalk and front moonwalk.
Nah, that's my people. Grandison's my people.
Really good. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, that's my people. He's from my
That's
crib.
right. JD George, that's what's up.
So so the thing was put out there, and first of all, that was when we all used to go to Lenox Mall before it was dangerous.
Right.
Or maybe we were there. But
when did that happen, by the way?
After the last verses, then JD was like, "I'm in New York, Puffy, I challenge you, blah, blah, blah." And Puffy was like, "Nah, beloved, your arms too short to box with God. I take Dre only." Let me say this before I let them chime in. I understand why Puffy thinks he should only face Dre, right? And then, but I also understand why JD wants to face Puffy. What's going on, Chico?
Hey, Chico.
So, Chico, you got to chime in. I will show you a little popping. So you guys chime in. Who you got, JD or Puffy?
I'm going to tell you right now, what bothers me about the whole conversation was they made it sound like it's crazy that JD could even step to Puffy like that. Like,
right.
Bruh, like, I'm in New York. It's crazy. But you put that Ghost Town DJs on to this day. Put on
now
poncho to this day. Watch 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds act the fool.
Right. So are you saying that JD is your pick?
I'm gonna keep it 100. Man had Biggie Smalls. The man had Mary J. Blige. If we go,
can't even sing.
I know. Hear me. No, well, stop it.
I said what I said.
Stop it. No, stop it. You going crazy about me. You drink a little too much of Moscato, a little something else.
Hey, that's my personal opinion.
Okay,
I love her, and I listen to her music, but I mean,
yeah,
she all right. But go ahead.
Well, now, okay. Here's the deal. If it's straight, if it's everything like including like rap, I mean, it's just
the whole catalog.
Too many hits in terms of rap. But in my opinion, if they doing R&B and remixes, now we talking.
Okay.
Why
would it? Matter of fact, he go one thing. I think my brother might have said this.
Oh, Chico.
He got it to where he had Usher first. Puffy had Usher first. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
Then JD got Usher, and Usher became Usher. Even though that's a whole nother story right there too.
The thing that JD said was he's in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So he's a songwriter.
Thank you, Mario.
So he's a songwriter, producer, and performer. Like when JD rapped, which wasn't frequent. I'm not pretending like he was, you know, like I'm not pretending like he was Jay-Z, but he wrote his own rhymes.
Yeah, wrote Chris Cross rhyme too.
Yes, he wrote their rhymes and some other people's rhymes.
Mm-hmm.
But when everything that Puffy ever spit, Jada or Biggie, one of those people wrote it, right?
And we don't even know if some of those producer credits are legit. If we know some of that is Hitman, some of that is not really him.
Yeah.
Some of that's Stevie J. So
you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I mean it's not as far out, and so I would love to see it. I would love to see it because I think first of all, I think and people gonna get mad at me because I lived on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We might be overrating Dre.
Overrating who?
Dre.
It's according to how you say that because what Dre has is West Coast hits and West Coast catalog.
Mm-hmm.
He can't go to R&B. He can't go to Mariah Carey. He can't go to a lot of different genres, and he's not a songwriter as well. So this kind of myth maybe that is Dre a dope producer? Of course he is, but he's a terrible performer, right?
Yeah,
and he doesn't have anything that he wrote that he that sounds hot. So I mean, this is not a knock on Dre, but this idea that it's Dre and Puffy, it might be closer to being JD and Puffy and Dre. Because I mean, when you look at really what JD has done in regular music production, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. Antonio, man, what you just said, I think that's pretty much it. He says, I honestly think if JD would have came out and solidified the South instead of making an imitation group. You know, let's go ahead and, you know, we can have that conversation. We family, y'all. Man, the truth is, man, we love New York. That's the biggest thing. We always love New York, but they didn't love us. So we said, okay, you know what I'm saying? So what made Outkast, and Goody Mob, and those other groups is they sounded like Southerners. They sound like us. Criss Cross, we loved it, but they didn't sound like us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what happened was, man, we got them. You know, we said bumped it. We tried to get love from New York. They don't love us. Dre said the South got something to say, and we said it.
And we said it. Period. So moving right along, while we talking about entertainers, did y'all hear about my girl, Miss Rihanna? Oh, baby girl done put out a teaser about some new music.
Yeah.
I'm excited, but here's the catch.
Uh-oh.
She specifically said it's not going to be like anything she's ever done before. It is going to be totally different from all of her previous music.
What's she gonna do? Rock and roll?
I don't know. Is she gonna sing country music? Is she gonna what?
That boy from Harlem got her mind gone. She with the ASAP boys.
What I can say is, she's a talented artist. So whatever she is gonna do is gonna rock. I'm not at the music consumption age group, so I'm not buying streams or anything like that. So good luck to her. There's a lot of Fenty underwear in this house. So whether she make music or not, she gonna make dollars. So I'm proud of her for that.
Amen to that. Yeah. Well, all right then. Let's get into these sports, guys. What's going on? I don't know how to feel about this last week. What's up? Talk to me.
Well, in terms of the Falcons, y'all want to go there, or are we going to just go straight to NFL?
Let's just go NFL. I need the bottle.
Okay.
Talk about the Falcons. Sick of them. Sick of it. All right. Well, what's going on? What we got?
Well, before we do the NFL, I do feel like I did share this on Tuesday. I feel like we got a shot to make a small run, the Falcons. I think that if we're going to make a run, this is it. I've been thinking about it all week. My brother pointed out comments from another show that I won't be naming. And he made a good point, is our schedule, I mean, we're playing the Giants, then the Redskins, we're playing the Jets. I don't think we play a team with a decent quarterback till like week 8. So, I mean, if we're going to make a run, Falcons, this is it. If not, we in trouble, y'all. We might be looking at the first or second pick.
Yeah, it is crucial. To your point, Diva, it got ugly, but we did have some bright spots in the game. We did some things that we looked totally inept at doing in the first week, but there's no excuse for that. So I had people come to me like, well, it was better than last week. Well, you can't get any worse than last week. So
about 24 points.
This is a crucial game because, like Ricardo said, this is a make or break game. Because if we lose this game, we lose all the confidence. Like the Eagles look like they're better than we thought they were going to be. Yeah. But the Giants are who we thought they were. And if we can't beat the Giants, we're going to have a long season. We're going to have a long season. So
the thing that speaks about that, though, is I'm telling you, Giants fans look at us and like, oh, we got this one too.
Oh yeah. I would be too. I would be too. Yeah. I would be too. So
but I read an article. The coach was like, he's not underestimating the Falcons by no stretch of the imagination.
Well, that's what they all say. That's what they all say. But they know if they get this win, this can be the same thing we talking about. This is a make or break win for them. It's a make or break win. It's a make or break win for the Giants as well. So
the Raiders fan said, let's be honest.
Rebuilding, George.
Yeah.
But how
he's a Raiders fan, so he's feeling pretty good.
Just to go over the games, we got this game going on now that you're not missing anything. The Panthers against the Texans. You got to be a diehard fan and a glutton for pain to watch that one. You got Washington and the Bills. You got Washington and the Bills. Buffalo minus 7.5. This is a big game for Washington. Are they good? Or are they sorry? Their defense hasn't shown us what we think they're going to show us. Yeah. The Bears and the Browns. In Cleveland. Cleveland favored by 7.5. Justin Fields' first start. The Browns low key struggle against Tyrod Taylor, so that'd be a good game to watch for a bunch of reasons. The Ravens at the Lions. Baltimore by 8.5. Fade the Lions until they cover. They don't look like a full complete team, and a team like the Ravens can run all over them. The Colts and the Titans in a crucial game for the Colts. The Colts are 0-2. It's at Tennessee. Tennessee by 5. If Wentz doesn't play, the pressure's on the Titans to win. The Chargers and the Chiefs in a secret upset special. The Chargers lost to Dallas, who ran the ball down their throat. The Chiefs can't run the ball down anybody's throat. That's going to be an exciting game, and I don't know if the Chiefs can win by 7. The Saints and the Patriots, this game looked a lot better when Jameis looked like new Jameis. Last week he looked like old Jameis. The Patriots are dinking and dunking their way around and they go play solid defense. I don't know if it's going to be an exciting game, but I think it's going to be a competitive game. New England is favored by 3. Our game that is in New York, but it's early in the afternoon. The Giants favored by 3. It's just hard to pick the Falcons with what they've done. The Bengals and the Steelers, Pittsburgh by 3. I like those 3 with Cincinnati. I don't think Pittsburgh is good. Now that we hear more injury excuses out of Roethlisberger, he's washed up. And it's funny how you can easily see how other quarterbacks are washed up. Like we're like, Drew Brees can't throw it anymore. And Roethlisberger can't throw it anymore. But when somebody said it about Matt Ryan, we're like, wait. It's his offensive line. Okay.
Okay.
The Cardinals and the Jaguars. The Jaguars, Urban Meyer is overmatched, and the Cardinals are playing good. They lucked up into a win at home. They should be more prepared, and they should win this going away. Okay. The Jets and the Broncos. The Jets are maybe the worst team in the NFL, but 10.5 is a lot of points. But it is in that altitude. I like the Broncos, but that's a lot of points. The Dolphins and the Raiders. Tua is not playing. The Raiders are playing very well. 4 seems very coverable for them. The Rams and the Buccaneers, that's going to be a close game. I can tell you this. I told you, if you wanted to win in Vegas, you need 58 points. If you just bet it 58%. If you just bet every game that Tom Brady plays, he covers the spread 62% of the time.
Wow.
Man, it's hard to bet against Tampa Bay with that going on. The Seahawks and the Vikings. The Seahawks choked away the game, and the Vikings has lost 2 close games. This is a make or break game for the Vikings. That's why I wouldn't go to the Seattle, because they don't come through in those crucial games. The Packers and the 49ers, on the low, the 49ers has not played that well. They didn't cover the first week, and then they didn't cover last week. The Eagles outgained them, outplayed them. They just couldn't get in the red zone. I'm going to go with the Packers as my upset special here. And then the Eagles and the Cowboys. The Cowboys are riding high, and often that's the wrong position for the Cowboys to be in. That's the Monday night game. The Cowboys minus 3.5. That means Vegas. And we talked about the Cowboys being a public team. I might be leaning on the Eagles on that game. So that's it for the pro preview.
Jimmy, tell them real quick how you did last weekend with the pros before we get.
Yes, that's what I want to know.
Let's not talk about that. We went 1-4 in the pros, but now we have a lot more information. We have a lot more information. So when it comes time to go over the pro games, we'll go over them.
All right. Okay. So we moving on to college football.
Yeah. So college is not a lot of exciting games coming up this week. We'll go over some of the ones. The Bulldogs are 35-point favorites now in some places. I think the Bulldogs get this easily. Stanford ran all through them, and they're not a good team. Georgia just beat a good team. South Carolina is going to end up in a bowl game, I predict. Vanderbilt will not come close. They might not win another game. They won't win a game in the SEC. Georgia's going to cover this. There's some payback from last year when they came to the game. Wisconsin and Notre Dame, right? Notre Dame has not looked great this whole season. But on the low, Wisconsin hasn't either. So Wisconsin by 6.5, that's too many points. It's at Notre Dame? Texas A&M and Arkansas.
I'm sorry, Wisconsin. That's at Wisconsin or at Notre Dame?
It's actually at Soldier Field in Chicago.
That's right. It's in Chicago.
So it's not in. That's a good point. Good call out. It's not. It's a home game for Wisconsin, but it's not at the Wisconsin.
That's definitely a home game for Notre Dame.
Right.
There's more Notre Dame fans here than.
We know that from when we went up there for the Georgia game. Texas A&M against Arkansas. Texas A&M minus 4.5. Remember, Texas A&M starting quarterback is out. They haven't scored a lot of points. The over-under is 47. I'm going to go with the under on that one. And look out for Arkansas on the upset. Clemson against NC State. Clemson, I think their offense gets on track. Iowa State against an undefeated Baylor. Iowa State has looked better since losing to Iowa. I wouldn't touch this game because I think this game, 7 points is underestimating Baylor. Michigan is 21 over Rutgers. This is a big test because Michigan has been blowing the spread out. And I think Rutgers is not a real good team, but they are all right. Yeah. Auburn is playing Georgia State minus 27. Don't jump on that. Don't. Georgia State has hung tough in all their games.
Yes. Yes.
UCLA and Stanford. That's a big game for the Pac-12. If you're a Pac-12 fan, I guess you got to be rooting for Stanford. But if you're a UCLA fan, you're rooting for UCLA. Yeah. Tennessee against Florida. Tennessee lost to Pittsburgh, who came back and lost to Western Michigan. Mm-hmm. This is is that Florida performance against Alabama for real. So that's the interest there. Florida minus 19. That seems like a lot. I don't know if Florida is a 19-point good team. So we'll have more information. Okay. I don't have a pick on that game. That just seems like a lot. Yeah. Nebraska against Michigan State. Michigan State won me a lot of money last week. Thank you, Michigan State. But my problem is Nebraska has come on lately. Mm-hmm. So even though it's in East Lansing, I would probably on game day I might play it, but I'm slacking away. Here's one that I do like: Kansas State against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State minus 6. I love Kansas State with those 6 points. Oklahoma State doesn't score a lot of points. They haven't covered the spread a single time. They're playing good defense, and that's just what Kansas State wants to do, get into a defensive slugfest. And so I like those 6 points. Alabama's playing Southern Miss minus 45. Of course, as a Georgia fan, we got to look at that and see. It's hard. 45 points is hard to cover, but will Alabama be looking to show the posters that last week was a fluke with that close win against Florida? Yeah. West Virginia and Oklahoma at Oklahoma, 17 points looks light, and it's because Oklahoma hasn't covered the spread at all. Mm-hmm. Ohio State, their quarterback is out. North Carolina and Georgia Tech, the spread is minus 12.5, and that's only because Georgia Tech played Clemson so close. Yeah. North Carolina is going to blow the doors off Georgia Tech. I'm talking about bad. Let's go get ugly. And then BYU against South Florida, that's not of interest. Oregon and Arizona is 28.5 points. That's too rich for my blood. So those are the main games in college.
Okay. Did you mention Arkansas?
Yeah, we talked about Arkansas against Texas A&M.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about who they play this week.
Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they don't have their quarterback. Yes. And they're favored by, let me get my numbers right, by 4.5 over Arkansas.
Okay. My guy Granderson said they're a super sleeper in the SEC. I have to admit, as a Georgia fan, I kind of was, before last week, I was like kind of rooting for them because, our former offensive line coach, Sam Pittman's the head coach over there. I said, hey, I'm rooting for them, but they're looking a little too good. It looks like if they win this week, they'll be probably top 15 by the time they play us. And it's SEC, man. It's any given Saturday. So, it's going to be a tough out. So, and I believe, are we playing them there or no?
No, they come here, I think. Mm-hmm.
They come here. Okay,
college. One of the college people will jump on my back and tell me where I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Arkansas is at home. Yeah, we go to Auburn. Okay. Kentucky at home. Yeah. Florida, of course, in Florida. Missouri comes here at Tennessee. Yeah, at Georgia Tech.
Let me ask you this then: who's a team that you look at and say, I said myself, Arkansas, that you say, hey man, this is a team that we've got a couple comments saying Ole Miss is a sleeper, Arkansas is a sleeper. Who, in your opinion, is a sleeper? Someone you need to be watching out for?
Well, I'm glad we're not playing Ole Miss. Yeah. We showed some vulnerability against the deep pass, and Ole Miss can do that, and their defense is much improved. Yeah. It is going to be a tall task to beat Alabama, but if anybody has the game plan to beat them, it would be Ole Miss. So I think LSU is down considerably, so it's going to be Ole Miss, Auburn, and Arkansas who have a chance to compete with Alabama. That Ole Miss Alabama game is going to be a good game.
Yes.
Because that we're kind of trying. It's going to give Georgia some good film to see what Alabama handles well and what they don't handle well.
Okay. Now, who's someone that you guys would say, you can chime in too, that you guys would say that the media is kind of touting, but you're kind of like, you know what? They're not going to be what they are in a month from now. For myself, I think Ohio State's already kind of been disclosed. I actually think they're better. I actually think they're better. I think people are just kind of jumping off the bat. I'm like, listen, they've been recruiting. They got 5-star talent. They just got a young quarterback, and they got caught. I think what happened last week is they saw a Pac-12 team and thought they were soft, and they didn't realize that, hey, man, these kids, Oregon's a little different. They recruit the same kids we recruit. You know what I'm saying? And so they was able to beat them off the edge. And I think, Ohio State's a good program. They'll bounce back. Oh, James Priest says Michigan. I think Michigan. What do you think about Michigan? Michigan, I haven't seen enough of them. But when I saw the first game, I was surprised. I said, oh, you know what? They're actually playing this year. George says Clemson. Clemson's good too.
So George, you got to give us more than just name the team. I would say Michigan, James Priest, that's a good call out. They haven't played anybody really, and they haven't thrown for 150 yards in the game. I don't know how they're going to win the championship. At some point, you're going to have to throw. So I would say that. Okay. James Bonds Jones. Is that right? Yeah. Penn State. Yeah. They're going to have a tough slate, right? Because they're going to be playing some pissed off teams, right? Yeah. Ohio State has lost a game. So I can see that. I think that's a good call out as well. Clemson, I don't agree with that. I think Clemson is not going to lose a game. I think they're going to get better and better. So, George, we usually see eye to eye. I don't know about that. That. I think Penn State.
Go ahead. I'm surprised George said that because George is a California guy, and he knows that Clemson got one of the best quarterbacks in the country from California. There's a lot of California kids quarterbacking some high-end.
Yeah, they're making out of quarterbacks. So I think Clemson goes all the way. Can they fix their flaws? Because they have to hope something happens, right? Because by losing to Georgia, even if they win their championship, it looks like the Pac-12 going to knock themselves out of it. But Ohio State is always lingering there as the people's champ. Right? Like they want Ohio State to go in there even if Penn State win the championship. So it's unclear who's going to win the championship. Wisconsin already has a loss to Penn State, but they're in the other division. So Penn State already beat Wisconsin, but Wisconsin could play in there, and Penn State, it could get confused because of how their divisions play and what happened.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds a lot confusing to me.
Burrell says Ole Miss defense is trash. Tulane was going up on the field. Contraire, mon frere. Check the numbers. Ole Miss defense. Let me be clear. Ole Miss defense is not Georgia's defense or Alabama's defense or even Florida's defense. No. But Ole Miss's offense is ahead of all those guys. So if they can beat Alabama, they put themselves in that position. It's in front of them. They control. They don't have to worry about somebody else. But what's going to happen and what happens, and the difference between it being in the SEC and being in any other conference, Ole Miss could beat Alabama and then lose to Mississippi State or Auburn. Or you get what I'm saying? Because it's just so many tough. Every week is hard-hitting tough guys. So
yeah. Our resident Alabama states that, in my opinion, if Ohio State makes it over a one-loss Oregon, it's robbery. Stuff happens, man. Oregon can't lose. Oregon still got to play the schedule out. That's why Jameed had specifically stated a week ago, I think he even shared it 2 weeks ago initially, that, you Pac-12 people, you got to root for your Pac-12 teams to do well. Because if they don't, what they do affects you. If UCLA is doing well, it helps Oregon when they play UCLA. If USC is doing well, it affects Oregon when they play them. So that's why we're so SEC. Because as a Georgia fan, I need Alabama to do well. I need Auburn to do well.
Right. And James, And James, here's the thing to understand. You are absolutely right. But when does Oregon lose and who do they lose to? Right? Yep. So if they lose to Washington, who won't be in the top 25, that's not going to look that's going to look worse than Ohio State losing to Oregon. So it's part of the game. And then you already know who the favorites are. They want Notre Dame to be in there, and they want Ohio State to be in there. So their bar is lower than a one-loss team of any conference. So that just keep that in mind. And it's financial reasons. Ohio State has the largest alumni base of any college in the world.
Listen, I had heard that a few years ago, and I had no idea. I was part of a campus administrator at UCLA about 20 years ago. And I saw it firsthand when they played Ohio State. I'm telling you, they filled that stadium. It might have been 30. I said, how far is Ohio from California? It must have been 30% Ohio State people. And this was in 2000. They weren't even, they had a good program. But I disagree with George Williams. I don't think the Pac-12 conference is trash. I think it's had a trash history, but they got the kids, and they're in the right region. I am scared. I told Jameet, I don't know if he necessarily agrees, but I am scared to death. If USC picks the right coach, oh my. But with that NIL agreement, man, I'm telling you, if they're smart and they get a good either pro coach. I actually heard someone, I think it was, I won't say his name of the show is on Fox, talk about how James Franklin has a presence about him and he can win kids over. I've seen him.
He can recruit. He can recruit. Except for quarterback. Except for quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, well, he actually had Justin Fields. You remember that?
Yeah.
We took him from him. So,
I mean, I think the Pac-12, unfortunately for the Pac-12, they're playing on eggshells, right? Georgia and Alabama are not worried about losing another game. But the Pac-12, they have to worry about that, right? Because they need what the best thing for the Pac-12 to happen is for Oregon to go undefeated and the rest of the season, and then play a USC team that has gone undefeated after they fired their coach. That's what they can hope for. And anything outside of that is not. It may not end up the way they want it to end up. So, and to me, that's why I'm team go to the 12. To the 12 teams getting in there. I'd rather have somebody who doesn't deserve to be in one slot than somebody who does deserve to not be in there.
See, but man, let me play devil's advocate with that. I know we got a lot of things we want to see. I don't want 12. I think 12 is way too many. I think 6 would be perfect. I'm gonna tell you why. Here's the thing: we can't have it to where guys who are having 2 or 3 losses. Or the people's.
Why not? Why not? The Super Bowl winners sometimes have 6 or 7 losses.
Listen. Here's why not. Because one thing that we want to say we appreciate about college is, man, I want my regular season game to mean something. Like if I don't beat them now, I might not have a shot to redeem myself later on. And then the other thing is, man, conference championships are kind of in the process playoffs anyway. So we don't need 12. You know what I'm saying? 6 is fine. Listen, for all these people that want 12, let me ask you something. How many?
So you asking me? So
no, okay. Well, there's a few others out here. I'm speaking all these. How many national champions would you say since we've done this playoff system and said that wasn't the best team? That wasn't the best team. How many national champions could you honestly say that wasn't the best team? It kind of works itself out. You know what I'm saying? And we play each other.
You said it kind of works itself out.
No. Well,
it kind of, and I don't think it's going to have any impact on the national championship. But the bowls are failing and dying, right? The ratings are dropping on the bowls, and the attendance is dropping on the bowls, and because it's like I want my team to be in it, and so I don't think it's going to change at the top. But there's some conferences that could get some better recruiting and exposure by getting into the playoffs. So I think it's all fun. They do it at the FBS level, at FCS level, but some of those schools are bigger than the schools on the FBS.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, a couple things with that. Number one, in terms of the bowl thing drop, that's because we got too many bowls, man. You know how many bowls they have?
It is a lot of them.
At the Georgia Dome or whatever it is over there now. You know how many bowls they got now? They got
bowl.
They started December 28th bowl. They got bowls from December 28th to February. Come on.
No,
bro.
Even before that. They the middle of December. Yeah.
So they got too many bowls. What happened is we greedy and we giving any team that's win 6 games. We want come on and get a bowl. Don't nobody want to see the Blue Bonnet Bowl, man. over there in Mississippi, Ole Miss. God bless our family. We that family in Mississippi. But don't nobody want to be in no Mississippi on no Thanksgiving unless they're going over to grandmama and them house. No.
I just personally think it's a good opportunity to give a bot. First of all, the whole thing is so bogus. You play the last game, then it's like a month between the games.
I get that. Now that's a legit piece.
And so, and you can still give a bye to the top rated teams and let those teams play amongst themselves. One, nobody will ever be declaring themselves the unofficial national champion again, right? Because they will get their butts beat in by a better team. But it gives them a chance to get on TV and show. Those games are going to be highly rated. So I think you're an old fogey.
No, I am an old fogey. I own that.
You're an old fogey.
I want when Auburn plays Alabama or when they play Georgia in the regular season, I need that to mean something. That's everything.
Yes.
That's one thing about college football.
It's still going to mean something.
No, it doesn't mean the same thing. If I know that I'm going to play them at least 2 more times, if I'm playing them in the SEC championship, I'm playing them. Man, I'm telling you, I remember as a grown arse man, when I hear that CBS music, I don't even like the CBS guys because I feel like there's a bias against Georgia sometimes because they seem to love all things Alabama. Shout out to James Priest. And Alabama's Alabama. I get it. But, man, I tell you, it's something about when we get on that channel CBS and we're playing LSU and we're playing Alabama and we're playing Auburn, and it means something. We know that we need this one. We got to have this in Florida. We need that one. If we don't get it, we're not going to get a shot at it.
He's just saying that
the regular season means something. That's all.
I think Ricardo is just saying that when they play these games like this, I think they go a little bit harder. They play like they want it. Whereas when you got another chance at it, it's like, all right, we're gonna come out here and do what needs to be done. I'm just here so I don't get fired. But if it's a different situation, they might they play a little different.
And that's true. That's the only argument against it, and that is a good academic argument. But that's a little bit pretend because it's pretending like it's going to be a bunch of 3-loss teams, and he knows that's not true. It's going to be a couple of 2-loss teams. Okay. It's not going to be that. But I see why you might argue that, but it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. So it's unstoppable. So we'll check back in. We'll check back in after it starts up. This is the point where I want to pull up my sheet so for accountability purposes.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to show the sheet, to be honest, but it is what it is.
Why not?
So if you look at my sheet, I went 3-2 the first week in college. I went 2-3 last week. I had a couple of near misses. Virginia Tech was on the goal line. They should have scored. Maryland had the game under control, but they didn't score enough points, and they let Illinois. They won the game, but Illinois came back and got the spread. All right, what am I looking at this week?
Okay,
Georgia minus 33.5 against Vandy. I love Georgia with that 33.5. Toledo minus 4.5 at Ball State. Toledo played Notre Dame tough. I think they're going to outclass Ball State. Kansas State. I like Kansas State versus Oklahoma State. They're on the road, but 6 points is too much for Oklahoma State. UNC minus 12.5. Even if you got to have the hook, they go kill Georgia Tech. I'm talking about literally kill Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Oregon State at USC. That first half, if you weren't watching, the first half against Washington State, they didn't look that good. Man, they turned it on in that second half. And remember, we talked about they're playing for their coach. All right? Let's skip these records that look terrible. I scroll by them slow. And let's talk about
That's all right. Shout out to James Bill. He says, come through transparency.
Right.
What did he say?
He says, come through transparency. He appreciates you being
Hey, man. You got to do it. I like Baltimore minus 7.5, even though they're on the road. They're just going to run it down Detroit's throat. New York Jets, the Jets minus 3. I like them over Atlanta. I hate to pick against my team, but Atlanta's giving up 40 points a game.
Mercy.
Cincinnati, road dog. I like them. Plus those 3. They didn't play that well against Chicago. I like the way Burrow learns. He had a couple of fluke interceptions. Let's see what they can do against this Pittsburgh team that seems like a little overrated. Jacksonville at Arizona. I think Arizona makes this a double-digit game, and Jacksonville can't come back. And then another surprise road underdog, Green Bay plus 3.5 against San Francisco. Those are my picks for the week.
Okay.
Let's go out and make some money on these picks.
Okay.
Please.
I mean, for free. I mean, only on free gambling.
Right.
Unless gambling is legal in your state, then you should take those. And as the weeks go along, you're going to see those records start getting sharper and sharper. The NFL is hard because you got to get information. Are they good? Are they sorry? Are they good? Are they sorry? Are they good? Are they? And so the more information, the better for Vegas, but also the better for the professor as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Did we get a chance to? Are we going to try to talk a little bit before because I know we're on borrowed time. Can we talk a little bit about what's going on with this MLB pennant? Because man, it is.
Hey, it is coming down crucial as the Braves fans. We talked about this last week. Then the Braves went on a 4-game losing streak. They're now on a 3-game winning streak. I think they lost tonight, though. They lost.
They lost. Man, yep, man.
And so
we would have swept the series if we won tonight.
Yeah, and it's hard to sweep series, but
we had to lead.
Yeah, it is. It is coming down to it. So the Phillies are playing the Pirates right now. Okay. They're up. So we need to be watching the scoreboard carefully because we've been watching the scoreboard carefully, and we were so deeply into that game that our own race that we don't realize we only play the Phillies 3 more times, the 28th, 29th, and 30th. Wow. So those would be good games to go to, and they get to play the sorry Pirates and the sorry Marlins.
Yeah.
Although the Marlins have given them trouble this year. So we only have 3 games against them, and we could be coming out of this game 2 games ahead. It is heart attack city as a Braves fan because what we haven't been watching is we're not the only pennant race going on, right? So and just real quick, here's the deal. In the American League, Boston, New York, and Toronto are all within 1 game of each other. So Boston has the lead by 2. New York is in, and Toronto is a half game behind for that wild card. That's right. Close. Now, that's not it. The National League is so top heavy in the sense that the Dodgers are just jamming, right? Well, guess what? We used to be safe. Like we had enough wins that if we didn't get the wild card, if we didn't get win the East, we could win the wild card. And then all of a sudden, St. Louis went on this 11-game winning streak. That's now up to 12 games. It's crazy. They had 72 wins when we had 76 wins. We were way ahead of them. Now they've won 12. They are solidly in that second wild card. So They're 5 games ahead of the Reds, the Phillies, and the Padres. So those teams are out of it. Those teams are totally out of it. So because the Dodgers are 1 game behind San Francisco. So whether the Dodgers are San Francisco, that's a critical race because the difference between a wild card and the wild cards play a one game series against each other before they play the next game. So that's critical because you don't want to play anybody in a 1 game series, and much less not a team like the Cardinals who won 12 games. So it's a lot going on in both leagues. But speaking of a lot going on, guess who got a lot going on?
Who?
Hey.
Our 5 stripes.
5 stripes?
Atlanta United.
Oh,
Atlanta United.
Yes.
I know we just let Trey Turner get away. The Atlanta United is on a streak. They were so far out of the playoffs before they went on this streak. Now they are in the 6th place in the playoff with a chance to get up as high as 3 or 4.
Good deal.
It's similar to the Hawks and Nate McMillan. They changed coaches, and the magic happened.
Come on now. Now we can only get the Falcons to do that.
To answer Grandison's question real quick, he says, will OBJ make a difference with Cleveland in his comeback from ACL surgery this week? From my experience, now, this is not – listen, when we say this, when I say what I'm about to say, I want you to understand a little bit of something. These 2 people, they work in the medical profession, and they have for a long time. The funny thing about ACLs, it takes time, man. It ain't that easy to just come back in and play. I don't care. Superman. Now, Odell seems to have that type of blood. We'll see, but I would not bet on it. If for fantasy purposes, I wouldn't play him this week.
The short answer is no.
Right.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Not
at all.
No. That's a tough ask, man. That's a tough ask, especially at a wide receiver. You Grandison played a little bit. Wide receivers asked to cut, and the way you're asked to cut, and I mean, I
don't care if he was perfectly healed. You got to get back in the
rehab need to be done
too.
The Phillies were down by 3, and then McCutcheon hit that home run. Now they're up by 6. Come on, come on, Bray, come on, Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Well, I think that I can't think of anything else, guys. We thank you so much for joining us once again. For myself, Boss Diva.
Thank you, Diva, for leading us through this journey.
Oh man,
I got you, boo.
Always good. Hopefully, we might have a special guest on the Tuesday episode. We're going to talk a little bit more about what happens in college football and pro football. Again, just a review of what happened over the weekend. Please join us at 7. And also, we will be back here on Thursday with the entertainment diva, the one and only Queen, Miss Boss Diva, at 7 on Thursdays.
8 p.m. Eastern time for those civilized people.
Yeah. Oh, he's like.
Or
for
catch
myself,
it on
Boss
YouTube.
Diva, and the professor, Denise Billingsley. Peace up.
Peace up.
Down.
A-Town down.
I don't know why I keep doing that wrong.